I would like to call to order City of Cape May's Historic Preservation Commission. It is now 6 o'clock on the 19th of May. Greetings, everybody. Thanks for attending this evening. In compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act of 1975, adequate notice of this meeting has been provided. If any member has reason to believe that this meeting is being held in violation of this act, they should state so at this time. Hearing none, shall you join us with the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have a roll call, please, Judy.
Mr. Carroll.
Yes.
Ms. Wilson-Striddick.
Yes.
Mr. Stevenson.
Here.
Mr. Hammerin.
Here.
Mr. Kurtz.
Here.
Mr. Testa.
Here.
Mr. Becker.
Here.
Thank you.
So Judy, earlier, or I guess late last week, sent out to everybody a copy of the minutes from our April 21st meeting. Has everybody had a chance to review those? If so, could we entertain a motion to approve them, please?
So moved. Second.
Moved by Mr. Testa, seconded by Mr. Stevenson? Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yes.
Roll call, please, Judy.
Mr. Carroll.
Yes.
Ms. Wilson-Striddick.
Yes.
Mr. Stevenson.
Yes.
Mr. Hammerin.
Yes.
Mr. Testa.
Yes.
Mr. Kurtz.
Yes.
Mr. Becker.
Yes.
Thank you.
We have one bill that is called for payment to our solicitor. That was also in the packet, so everybody had a chance to review that. I'd like to entertain a motion to approve the payment of that bill.
I'll move. Second.
Moved by Mr. Carroll, seconded by Mr. Hammerin. Judy?
Mr. Carroll.
Yes.
Ms. Wilson-Striddick.
Yes.
Mr. Stevenson.
Yes.
Mr. Hammerin.
Yes.
Mr. Testa.
Yes.
Mr. Kurtz. Mr. Becker.
Yes.
Thank you.
There were a number of resolutions that were also included in that packet. Gorman at 1142 Washington Street, Resolution 2025-13. 230 Grant Street, Resolution 2025-14. Taylor Gordon, 921 Washington Street, Resolution 2025-15. Thompson at 829 Kearney, Resolution 2025-16. Reinert at 216 Perry Street, Resolution 2025-17. And Carlson Glazer, 820 Sewell Avenue, Resolution 2025-18. Resolution from someone, please, to approve those resolutions or ratify those resolutions?
I'll make the motion to
I'll second.
approve the foregoing resolutions.
Moved by Mr. Testa, second by Ms. Wilson-Striddick. Judy?
Mr. Carroll.
Yes.
Ms. Wilson-Striddick.
Yes.
Mr. Stevenson.
Yes, with the exception of 216 Perry.
Thank you. Mr. Hammerin.
Yes. Yes.
Mr. Testa.
Yes.
Mr. Kurtz.
Yes.
Mr. Becker.
Yes.
Thank you.
And finally, to conclude our introductory business here, there are 24 applications that were approved in review. Would like to entertain a motion to approve those and ratify them.
I will make that motion.
Okay.
Moved by,
Me?
I'll second it.
okay, moved by Mr. Carroll, seconded by Ms. Wilson-Striddick. Judy, please?
Mr. Carroll.
Yes.
Ms. Wilson-Striddick.
Yes.
Mr. Stevenson.
Yes.
Mr. Hammerin.
Yes, with the exception of Sheffer, 1011 Washington Street. I recuse on that one.
Thank you. Mr. Kurtz.
Yes.
Mr. Testa.
Yes.
Mr. Becker.
Yes, with the exception also of Sheffer at 1011 Washington Street. I must abstain.
Thank you.
Okay, so as most of you know, we have had, since the beginning of the year, 2 full commission alignment workshops outside of these Monday night meetings. And at the first of those, we aligned around a clear statement around what is the core purpose of HPC's work. So, Mr. Stevenson, would you please read that for us?
Okay. The purpose of the HPC's work is to serve as a catalyst for guiding and valuing Cape May's historical, cultural, and natural resources in ways that inspire and unite our community to steward these resources for the benefit of all, so that present and future generations continue to express the unique quality of life we share in this place we love.
Thank you. So now on to our old business. The first project is Heathcote at 1283 Lafayette Street. Pam, if you could please just state your name and your role on the project, please.
Good evening again. I'm Pam Fine. I am the project architect. And I am here on behalf of my clients from 1283 Lafayette Street, the Heathcotes. I was here last month. The application was tabled for a few different changes requested, and so I submitted a new packet with those changes included. I can run through it if you want.
I think it may be unnecessary.
Okay.
The reason I would say that is because what Pamela had submitted to us was the full package in response to what we had requested of her, and we reviewed it in the review committee and found it thorough and acceptable. So unless anybody has any other comments, I would like to either hear those or entertain a motion to approve this application.
I've no further comments, so I'll make the motion to grant final approval to the application.
I'll second.
Moved by Mr. Testa, seconded by Mr. Kurtz. Judy, roll call, please.
Mr. Carroll.
Yes.
Ms. Wilson Stridick.
Yes.
Mr. Stevenson.
Yes.
Mr. Hammerin.
Yes.
Mr. Kurtz.
Yes.
Mr. Testa.
Yes.
Mr. Becker.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That may have been your shortest presentation in the history
That
of...
was a record. I appreciate it,
It will go down as one of the...
even though I love talking.
Does that
Thank
make
you.
up for your 3-hour wait at the last meeting?
Yeah, no, I mean, hey, it is what it is. You guys have an easy application and a list of applications tonight, so I'm
So-
glad.
So make the next one just as easy. For
Yes,
us,
I
okay?
will. I aim to. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Moving on. Thanks, Pam. Next order of business is Burton at 302 Howard Street. If you two gentlemen could please state your name and your role on the project.
My name's Kevin Olan. I'm the project manager at Fenwick Architects.
My name is John Burton. I'm the owner of 302 Howard Street.
Thank you. Please proceed.
Mr. Burton was here last month's meeting and received conceptual approval for this project at 302 Howard. It's a non-contributing building, and the project is to lift the house and add a story and a half. It's currently a one-story house. There was a couple comments at the meeting that we have addressed. First, we did get a zoning approval from Bruce Britton on Friday, the 16th. And then on the front facade, we added shutters on the new windows. And on the side facades, we took the double windows in the attic story and separated them to be 2 individual windows on each side. And then the third item was we added brackets on the existing front porch. That's it.
Pretty straightforward. Okay, so I'm not convinced we need to go around the room here, given that it seems pretty straightforward. But do any of the folks here on the commission have any comments for this applicant or questions?
I'd just like to say, looking at the house next to you now and what you've done and that whole street, I think you've made really handsome improvements that will really help that house to fit in.
Thank you.
Yeah, and thank you for that. That's great cooperation.
Yeah. You may be setting a trend in lifting houses on the street, particularly inspiration to the one next to you. And I thank you for following through from your conceptual approval to provide all the things that you were asked to do and that you said you would do.
Glad to.
Any other comments?
Looks good.
I make a motion to approve the application as presented.
Final approval.
Final approval.
Second.
So moved by Mr. Carroll. The motion is to grant final approval as presented, seconded by Mr. Stevenson. Judy, roll call, please.
Mr. Carroll.
Yes.
Ms. Wilson Stridick.
Yes.
Mr. Stevenson. Mr. Hammerin.
Yes.
Mr. Kurtz. Mr. Testa.
Yes.
Mr. Becker.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, thank
Well,
you very
gentlemen,
much.
That was short and sweet. Maybe that's the second
You
fastest.
guys are getting out early tonight.
You never know.
Yeah. Okay, moving on to new business. Is there a representative here for Taruski at 925 4G? Good evening. If you could please state your name and your role in the project?
My name is Donald Petrowski Sr. I'm the owner of the property with my wife and my son and his wife.
Okay, the floor is yours, Mr. Taruski.
Well, we're proposing a new deck on, I have a handout too.
Excuse me, folks, I have to recuse myself. I'm within 200 feet of the neighborhood. Yeah.
Really?
You can't hear him?
No, I can't, I'm sorry. No, I can't.
Wow. Thank you.
Back here. Next to one, please, so I can give it to our secretary. Thank you.
I got it, John.
Thank you.
Very much.
Just for the record, we'll call this A1. It's 2 pages.
You submitted 27 pages previously, okay? And your secretary said I should get the dimensions of all the wood. So it's going to be a wooden deck. Previously, we said it was going to be composite deck, and then we just changed that. No doubt about it. Because the deck is 15 by 15 with a roof, okay? The roof on our house was replaced in 2021. We're going to match that and match the brand and the color on that roof. We bought the property in 2018. Since then, we did a lot of things. We did a fence and a barn, paved the driveway. We replaced the barn, painted the whole house and the driveway in 2022. We have a really great backyard, but no shade, and that's what we want. 15 by 15 deck, and I think it's pretty simple. If you have any questions, please, yeah.
So on this one, I would like to go around the room.
Okay.
And if we could start with Mr. Hammerin, please?
So just a quick comment. Generally speaking, when an addition is put onto a contributing property, we try to keep the sides of the house straight rather than having anything bump out to the sides. This looks to me like it maybe bumps out all of about 2 feet, not
Yeah, 3 feet, but we had the driveway paved, and then it was a sidewalk in there, so we shut it out 3 feet.
Is the project compromised in your mind if you pulled that back the 3 feet to get it flush with the side of the house?
No.
So I wanted to ask a clarification about that. Thank you, Kevin, just to, not to interrupt, but on the application, it says 17 feet by 15, and you just said 15 by 15. So what are the dimensions? Your application just says 17 by 15.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we enlarged it by
Okay.
that. That 17 was out there, so we'll do 15 by 15.
Well, that was my question. Is the 17-foot dimension the one perpendicular
Yeah.
to the sidewall of the house?
Hold on. my son he did these drawings, and he's away now, so.
And he did a really nice job, too.
Did.
First,
Industrial.
while you're doing that, I just want to say, this is one of the few applications that actually came to us with the principles we're supposed to apply actually set forth in the filing. So really, for us, this is a very interesting way to do the application.
Actually, I've answered my own question. If you look at
it is.
page 24, the 17-foot dimension is parallel
That's right.
to the side of the house. So if you were to pull it back 2 feet, that means the dimensions would be 13 by 17. Is that acceptable to you?
Yes.
Kevin, more questions?
So, can I ask, Kevin, on page 13, is that
Yeah.
what you were referring to? Yeah, okay. Right, the blue part. that-
12 and 13, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
We debated on that for a while, too.
I just found the application a little confusing, and that the CAD drawings are very well done, but they seem to contradict one another. If I look at like page 19 versus page 20, on page 20, it seems like it's flush with the existing jut out, and then on 19, it looks like it comes out further. And in that we were only provided with an existing site plan, perhaps a proposed site plan would have given us a better look to see how far it really sticks out.
You kind of see that on
Yeah.
13, right?
13 and 12 and 13.
That's a 2D direct head-on look at the building.
Yes,
the
right.
rendering. And I think what Kevin's comment was, right, if we reduce it by 2 feet, we should get rid of that blue should essentially be eliminated.
That's right.
So it would be flush with the current side setback.
Yeah.
So from the
Well-
front, you wouldn't see,
You wouldn't see the addition.
You're going
Yeah.
to see it from the side, but not to the
Right.
front.
Right. And just to point out one other thing, there's a chimney there in the existing house, and that actually adds a little bit more to the, to the screening effect, so.
That was my only comment.
Thank you. Janice?
I think that addresses the only reservation I would have.
Thank you. I find myself in the same position as Janice. My concern was the extrusion or intrusion of that piece, but since you've agreed to make it a 13-foot extension that makes it level with the front view of the house, it doesn't protrude, it doesn't raise questions that might have called into question whether or not we could do this for a contributor. So my questions have been answered.
Okay.
It's a 13-foot proposed deck.
Thank you. Tom?
Whatever it is, we'll measure the side of the house. We'll be.
So you pull it back to align with the bump
back,
out?
Whatever it is.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry, what we don't want to see is a protrusion beyond the side of the house.
Right.
And whatever it is that you can do to make it
Maybe
not protrude,
2 or 3, we don't know.
Yeah.
I'll measure it.
It actually is shown on the survey, I think this is page 5 of the submittal. I think it shows a 42.5 foot setback to the current side of the building. So that if the idea is to make that flush, you would just carry that through.
Yep. Okay.
I just wondered if there was any more specificity regarding the type of wood that you're going to have on the decking and as far as the railings,
Cedar,
cedar?
painted cedar, or stained cedar.
see, not that you're going to do this with us much. Your materials sheet is perfectly compliant when you say wood, but if you tell us what kind of wood it is, then we don't have to ask you those questions.
Any others, Mr. Testa?
No, thank you.
Mr. Carroll?
When you have to do this many pages to complete something, there's bound to be some things wrong. On page 12, it shows this building to have windows on the ground floor and the top. I assume that is nothing to do with what you're really trying to do.
Wait,
Would you help
windows.
with this?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, the
But I'm
blue,
just
the
looking at
blue that you have on page 12, that shows essentially
Yeah.
not only
A hole
protruding,
door.
but a kind of porch with the windows.
Actually, it doesn't.
Does it?
No, these are actually railings, and what you're seeing is the penetration
view through, I
through,
see
and
it
you're
now.
seeing the railing over
Right,
there.
right.
Ostensibly, it does appear to be windows, but it's not.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, your eyes don't
Tom,
work like
Tom,
mine.
Tom and I withdraw that comment.
That's
did
right.
that, I don't know what.
But it's, you could actually
My son
see
did
it.
it.
It's
He's in
a-
Bentonville, Arkansas now.
It's a bit of hallucination we get.
Well, in this
I see
picture
John's
then,
point.
the white box that I'm seeing, I take it would be an outdoor shower.
Outdoor shower.
Okay, and that would be done of the same materials and everything?
No, it's
that's out
existing
there.
now.
It's all-
Oh,
it's
it's
already there.
existing now, okay.
Existing now,
Okay.
yeah.
Just the deck.
Yeah. Just a suggestion, cedar, regular cedar that you get down here loves mold and can get a moldy appearance. I would certainly suggest that you stain that after you put it up, and maybe even wait a little bit, but then stain it. And if you wanted to be white to match other trim, a solid stain is a very good thing to use. I've used that on a lot of fences.
Our fence was cedar.
Yeah.
It's about like 5 years, pretty good. Yeah. Painted cedar, but we're going to stain it.
Yeah. Yeah, either that are going to be out there power washing
I
it
know.
pretty regularly.
I did.
Okay?
I have a power wash.
That's all I have.
Okay.
Just because you're only doing the deck, because there is some fencing in the back, you're not doing any fences
No,
at all?
no
Okay.
fences at all.
It's just shown on here, I just wanted to make sure.
We're all fenced in already.
Yep, okay.
Kids and the dogs. We've got both.
Yeah.
Well, I am very surprised that my colleague, Mr. Carroll, has not discussed the railings.
Oh, wow.
So.
Still time, Tom.
Yeah, do you want another shot at this?
With wood railings like that, the square pieces, we do suggest to be in compliance with railings of that period of time, earlier and a little bit later, that there only be no more than, for a real 2x4, have any more than 3 inches between them.
3 inches.
With true 2x4s, no more than, or no less, or no more than 3 inches between them, even though the ordinance says you have to have a 3-inch opening. That doesn't match the railings of that period of time to have that kind of opening.
4.5 center to center, okay?
Yeah.
Now, that is acceptable,
Yeah.
yes.
Great.
So this says between railings, but if it's, oh, it does say center to center, so yeah.
Center to center.
So if these are 2x2s, then you've got 3-inch space and 1.5 solids, right?
Yeah.
That's
So the
fine.
real 2x2s?
No.
Inch and a half?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, but then they're still on, what's the center on them?
They're on 4.5-inch centers, so it means there'll be a 3-inch space.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay,
Which I think is
yeah.
fine, right?
Another thing that really helps railings to match the existing ones is a stronger top rail.
Yes.
And it's also good for the longevity of your whole system, to have something that where rain hits it, it can flow off to the sides and not down everything all the time.
Yep.
So I would suggest a little heavier top railing system on that. Maybe you're using 2x4s, but if you got a 2x6, which is really 5.5, and beveled the top of that, you could get a very handsome-looking top rail, meet all the safety requirements, and that would help keep it dry and last longer.
Since we're proceeding so quickly, and Tom has made these good points, I'm going to make a couple more about railing construction. In addition to shedding water at the top, you want to make sure your bottom rail does the same thing, so the water isn't picked up by your end grains on your spindles, on your balusters. And I would also suggest that you give serious consideration to end priming the wood before you install it.
Say that, end priming.
Yeah, you want to end prime your balusters or spindles. That way, any water that does get through will tend to be resisted and not get sucked up the grain of your spindles.
And to continue with what Mr. Testa saying, it looks like the bottom rail, it does look like that it is sitting on the deck top. I just want to make sure that that wasn't your intention.
No, it's not my intent.
Okay.
No.
So
And to complete Jim's comments.
Wow.
If you're working on the spindles coming down, if they get a upside-down V-cut in them that matches a right side up cut at the bottom. You know, they fit right into that, and that makes them drain naturally. And that will also help them last a lot. As you know, we put railings out there to rot away. And they're great at doing that no matter what kind of wood you use. So that's one of the best solutions to get, to get the water draining away from them as soon as you can. Does the porch have a slope? Does the porch have
I think so, yeah.
Uh-huh,
We don't have a contractor yet.
yeah,
We're-
uh-huh. That's the hardest thing.
Yeah, the problem is we have to get it approved, and
Yeah.
then get a quote.
Yeah,
So
okay.
We're going to get 3 quotes.
Yeah.
So I also have a few comments.
Sure.
I would like to do a little bit of clarification about the railings. Balusters, I think, are fine, but let's start with the bottom railing. If it is a 2x4, that the long dimension is horizontal, that would not at all be consistent with the construction of the 1910 to 1920 timeframe when this house was built. The height of the bottom rail would be higher than just that 1.5 inches. And the reason for that is very simple. And that is, if I were to take this as a 2x4 and push down on it, it deflects. But if it's got a taller dimension vertically, it doesn't, because it's got more material to push up against that weight that's coming down, which is why they're built so that the railing height is usually at least the height of its thickness. More often, its height is greater than its width. Make sense? And it would be at least a couple of inches above the deck, which I think Lorraine had identified. So that's one. Second is the top rail just looks like a board. Looks like a board, where it would have some detail to it. Some sort of, I would say, shape that would be more detailed than just a square
What are you
board.
talking about again?
A railing, the
The
top
rail,
rail.
oh,
Yeah. So I think what we need to see before we can approve this is a more detailed drawing of the construction of that whole set of railing components, bottom rail, balusters, top rail.
Just illustrative of something that might serve as.
Perfect.
Something that might serve as a sort of inspiration for the shape of the bottom and top rails. I mean, basically, what you want to do is give it a profile.
Profile.
Instead of having just a squared-off piece of lumber.
So this is one of our attorney commissioners, being an architect, which is great, we love it. You're supposed to laugh at that.
Well,
But
it's the
I have-
best I could do. At least I'm not an artist.
I actually have a couple more,
Drawing too?
Yeah, well, just a suggestion, because this comports with what we've been saying.
so I have a couple, comports. I also have a couple more issues that bear mentioning, and I think we would like to suggest as, if, a strong suggestion or maybe even a requirement. So these posts that you're putting here are 4x4s. Is that just a pressure-treated 4x4 that has no cladding on it, or what is that 4x4?
It's going to be cedar, stained cedar.
Okay, so all of this construction is not painted, it's just stained cedar? Is that the intention?
Yes.
Okay. So I would suggest that you're not going to be happy with the 4x4s. At 8 feet tall, they're going to look pretty spindly. So I would suggest very strongly that you consider 6x6s. The other thing that I find,
My neighbor has 4x4s, and they look in the front of their house. and-
that may be, but what we are trying to assess is what might be best for this particular project. And I appreciate that your neighbor has done one thing, but what we're trying to assess is this project on its own merits. The other thing that I'm kind of concerned about is this is a contributing house. And this deck construction looks very modern. And when I say modern, it has expressed all of its elements without any sort of detailing of those elements. That's why I was asking about whether the columns were clad. And one of the most important ones is, if you look at the photograph of the front of your house and you look at the front porch, so these porches are almost always built so that the beam that comes across actually, the actual supporting beam at the top of the columns is not actually the height of the space underneath there. There's almost always a lower structure more close to what the top of a window head height would be. And I looked at your dimensions, and this is at 8 feet. So in section, it would look more like that, where this beam actually comes down as a lower soffit to actually enclose that space a little bit, as opposed to it just being a pure beam that wraps around at the height of the top of the columns. So if you look at your front porch now, it was a front porch at some point that's been enclosed. That, you will see that the way that was constructed would have been that it had a drop soffit across the top of the columns, which was lower than the actual supporting beam capturing the rafters. Just needs a little more character to be in character with that period of house from 1910 to 1920. So what I'd like to suggest is that instead of this being a final approval, because there are at least 4 or 5 issues that have arisen, I would like to suggest that we consider conceptual approval and ask you to come back. What do folks think? I'm proposing that.
I would agree.
Yeah, that's
But
the
but
most
while we're
acceptable solution.
torturing our client a little bit, I'd like to add one more thing. Your lattice at the bottom is, not cross-checked in it, which is the typical lattice that you find, where one runs like this, the other runs like this. And there is an advantage to that. The appearance is in keeping with others, but it also has a natural draining effect, since all those things drain rather than have ledges for water to sit on, which might have been why people started doing that.
So I'm sorry, say that again, Tom, about the lattice?
Talking about diagonal.
The lattice,
Diagonal lattice.
Diagonal lattice
rather
instead
than
of,
the vertical and horizontal.
Yeah, and additionally, it would be wood
Yeah.
lattice.
Yeah, see, I would say the advantage, but one of the details of having conceptual approval is that you will get notice from us about conceptual approval, and the things in the conceptual approval that we'd like to see in connection with final will be detailed for you. So take the notes, but you'll see what we,
Can't take them fast enough.
well,
So,
you'll see what we had.
Mr. Trusky,
Write 'em down.
Mr. Trusky, what we're really trying to do is actually be in service to you liking your addition even more by virtue of it maybe being a little bit more cogent with the existing historical contributing house. So I'd also like to suggest that we meet here in this room every Tuesday morning, and starting tomorrow, and between now and our next meeting, if you would like to come and sit with us in our review committee, be happy to chat through this a little bit more to make sure that you have a clear understanding and maybe even propose to us some ideas that you might have about how you would respond to these comments. That way, we can do this collaboratively if you'd like.
When is the meeting again?
So we meet every Tuesday morning. All we need to have you do, if you'd like to meet with us, is simply call Judy Decker, our secretary, and make an appointment anytime between 9:30 and 11. And we can sit and chat through this and collaboratively improve it.
All right. One of my sons should be here with that next Tuesday.
Yeah, make him do some more work here.
Yeah, it'd be great.
He did all this drawing.
So,
Well, one of the benefits of going that route is we've all been taking notes, and this is what mine look like right now. But what you could end up with is, it sounds like your son's helping you with like some of the design of this, and he
Yes.
did a pretty good job, like, of giving an idea what's going on. But you could end up with a picture of what the end product would look like, the railing and that, with, material this, and it'll be painted that. And then that's a really good reference point for your builder. It's also a really good reference point for the HPC compliance officer to say, yeah, that's what got approved and that's what's being built.
So that's when you get the speed.
Was that?
That's when you get the speed. It moves everything along
Yes.
quickly.
This part will take a little time, but then once you get to that point, you should be off to the races.
Yeah, maybe next Tuesday, if Matt's way
Well, that could also work in the sense that you'll do that, and it would really then speed up the process when you just come for the final approval. Having had discussion, having had the details, your final application will reflect all those things, and you might even join that ranks of the people we pass on in 5 minutes, like we did before.
Hopefully.
No, in any event,
So I
there's no more comments. I'll move to give a conceptual approval.
So maybe what I could do is summarize what I have as comments.
Oh, good.
As what we're approving conceptually. So I think what's being proposed is Mr. Testa is moving to approve conceptually this project with the following conditions: that we align the porch side edge with the existing house bump out at the 42.5-foot setback, that we reconfigure the bottom rail so that it is not at the deck and has a more vertical profile, that we also use a top rail that has more of a period profile, that we alter the posts to be 6 by 6 and consider cladding them, but maybe not, that we also engage with the construction of a drop soffit at the top of the columns, and that we include diagonal lattice for the space beneath the 2 by 8 deck board. Did that capture everything, folks?
It did, and I would, at least I think it did.
Did we capture everything?
I think so.
The gap space on the bottom, did we go over that? On the bottom part of it, was that part of the?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. Okay,
So with those attached to the motion conceptual approval, that would be the motion.
Judy, did you get all those?
I did,
So we have a motion for Mr. Testa
I will second it.
and seconded by Mr. Carroll.
Okay. Mr. Carroll.
Yes.
Ms. Wilson Stridick.
Yes.
Mr. Stevenson.
Yes.
Mr. Hammerin.
Yes.
Mr. Testa.
Yes.
Mr. Becker.
Yes.
Thank you.
So hopefully, Mr. Trusky, you found that helpful, and we
Yes.
look forward to meeting with you, with your son, maybe next Tuesday.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay.
Excuse me,
moving
Mr.
on-
Chairman,
Oh.
I need to amend the applications approved and denied in review on the Sheffer. 10, 11, I need to recuse myself from that, please.
So that's three of us that recused ourselves from 1011 Washington Sheffer. That's Mr. Hammerin, Mr. Kurtz, and myself.
And I think I have to recuse myself from this next applicant as well.
Okay.
The architect was a client of mine, or is a client of mine. Oh, okay. He's a lawyer also.
So,
That's,
so next up is McFarland Associates at 112 Madison. If you could please come up to the table and introduce yourselves with your name and what your role in the project is, please.
Hi, I'm Rob Wilson. I'm the owner of McFarland Associates, which is the owner of 112 Madison Avenue.
Okay.
And I'm Chris Zender. I'm the architect. I'm also a professional engineer, professional planner, and I've had experience with historic work here in Cape May, and I prepared the application on behalf
Okay.
of the applicant.
Gentlemen, the table is, or the, yes.
Floor.
Floor is yours, not the table, the floor. Thank you.
Table's ours.
Table's yours.
Okay. So the applicant, this home has been in their family since, what, 1983?
1985.
85, sorry. So it was his father's home. It's passed through the generations. He's been doing renovations on the interior. I've been involved with a lot of that. We now find ourselves in the situation where they're trying to make this a multi-generational summer retreat for the family. We've done some interior configurations on the second floor so that there's bathrooms and living space for everybody. What we're looking to do, it's indicated on the site plans, but at the back of the home, there's an existing rear porch on the second floor. And we're looking to convert that from just an open screen porch that's not really used into a bathroom linked to the bedroom that it abuts. You can see this on the existing partial rear plan as well as the proposed partial rear plan. We're looking to enclose this on 3 sides with walls, 3 windows on the back, and then your conventional vanity, shower, and sinks. In terms of the finished materials, we're looking to match the materials that exist on the house, including cedar shakes on the roof, shakes to match the existing siding, including the coursing and exposure. And we're proposing 3 new windows, which will be solid wood construction. JELD-WEN is the company I'm most familiar with using here. We can get truly custom windows. We have 6/1 lights. And then on the last page of the 11x17 drawings, I have a proposed window detail, which more or less is indicative of a craftsman-style trim configuration with everything detailed out and proportional. We typically order our windows through Cape May Lumber. I have a great relationship with them, and they know the drill with the HPC. They get a full drawing from me with details. The trim package for the exterior will be provided by John Hassey. We like Akoya wood because it's rot resistant. I think it's warranted for about 50 years.
Great stuff.
Yeah. And that's what happens when you pickle wood, apparently. And then we're going to paint that trim to match the existing trim on the house, which is white. And that's, in summation, that's really what the application is. I did provide, towards the tail end of the package, a summary of the features from the JELD-WEN catalog. The construction will be the Orlast pine primed for the windows, so that they're prepped for paint. There'll be true divide lights, all wood construction, and I'm happy to take any questions.
Mr. Zender?
Yes.
Sorry, just a threshold procedural question. Did you guys do a FAR analysis on this?
We did not do an FAR analysis.
Okay. The only reason I ask, we don't do FAR here.
Mhm.
The zoning officer.
For Bruce.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the reason it might impact here is because if you do have to go to the board for some reason, we usually do conceptual. That goes to the board, and then you can come back for final if
Okay.
you need board relief. So you may have heard the discussion from a previous application. Just double checking with Bruce, what you're doing is either code compliant, subject to the HPC, or you may need to go to the board. I don't know the answer to that.
Right.
It's a question.
Do you know the answer of whether or not enclosing a porch and making a room out of it constitutes a floor that would change the ratio?
Yeah, I think there's pretty good chance that it
So
would.
that's the key
Okay.
point here.
So, and I don't know if you have those numbers in your, somewhere.
Not in my pocket tonight, but I can review that, and I'll call him tomorrow.
Okay.
He's generally very responsive.
And I
so-
realize I'm putting you on the spot. when I
Oh,
say
that's
it, but
okay.
it's-
That's your
it's
job.
Part of what, the lens that we'll look at it tonight.
In this zone, as I recall, because I just did some research on this, I believe it's the FAR max is 40%.
Okay, okay,
So I don't know if you have any numbers in your head. I mean, we can see what the square footage of the
right.
lot is. I mean, what the square footage of the usable area of the house is.
I'm not prepared with those numbers, so I'd be misspeaking no matter what I said. Either overly optimistic or overly pessimistic. 'Cause,
Quite optimistic, but.
Well,
I like that.
To be on the safe side.
Yeah.
We would consider that the best we could do tonight is a conceptual.
Okay.
But if it turns out that you don't have an FAR issue, and that could easily be converted into a final.
Let me ask you a question. Is the adjacent lot attached to this, or is it separate?
It's a separate.
Okay. Because the applicant also owns the corner lot, and
I
that's,
was thinking that if that was part of it,
Yeah.
you probably didn't have an issue, but I
We
wasn't
might
sure.
have an issue just because we have like a cottage. in-
Yeah, that's what I was going
Right.
to say. There's 2
Yeah.
structures, 2
Yeah.
living structures
what
on the
you're
property. That's what I was saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So just, that's a question for tomorrow, but we can still consider this conceptual tonight.
okay. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Solicitor. So, let's go around the table for any comments. Lorraine, please.
No comments. Thank you.
Mr. Carroll.
A very understandable addition to the house. I have no objection.
Thank you.
I have less of any objection. It's well hidden. It's obviously minimalist, in terms of what it does to the structure. It's behind it. I can see the function. I have only one real question, and that is there is a huge variation in the number of window configurations in the house, including 1/1s, 6/9s, 6/1, and I'm just wondering why those 3 windows got chosen to be 6/1.
So that was a conscious decision by myself. There are a number of different window configurations within the house, and based on the historic report, this being an early turn-of-the-century craftsman, I decided to go with what I feel is one of the more conventional configurations, which was the 6/1.
Were the 1/1s shown in the rear elevation replacement windows?
Yes.
That probably accounts for why they're not 6/something.
So that's why I chose to do that. I felt like it's a truer version of historically what would have been there.
Thank you. And my suggestion is, should you replace those other windows, move back to 6/1.
I like Jim's suggestion. I think it's a good way of increasing the usefulness of the interior without harming the streets.
Thank you. Yeah, we tried to be very sensitive, and this does have, even though it's a side elevation, we do have a very prominent side elevation.
Visible,
So,
right.
It's a very neat and tidy addition, and it's a nice thing, springing for the true divided lights as well. Nice gesture.
thank
Yeah.
you.
Just 2 quick questions. One is, I didn't really pick that up. Do you own the property on the corner or not?
It is owned by a separate entity. I'm a partial owner of that also.
Okay.
I ended up buying my sister's interest in the main house, but we kept that interest.
Okay, so it is, this
It's a
addition,
definite entity.
okay, this addition is visible from the side street then?
It's out from Kearney. It is.
Right.
Okay. And just a sort of a secondary question, there's I'll call it almost like a porch next to this addition where the 2 air conditioner units are. You have any thoughts of eventually turning that into a working porch or anything like that, or?
Well, I really don't have any place to put the units, and I think I might be up on my FAR, so I wasn't sure. I thought this was like already enclosed area, and I thought maybe it was already under roof, and hopefully we won't have any objection for us to just enclose that. It will make it, it's better than the screens blowing out in November, out onto the lawn.
Yeah, I'd say.
Yeah, I know, that's a great suggestion, but I considered the status of that location, but never addressed it with the applicant because I felt that it exists and it's a very nice solution for AC condensers versus having them on the ground and visual. Between the angle of, from high eyesight and pedestrian eyesight and everything else, it just works. So I felt that was the highest and best use because it could be a porch, but then we'd have to relocate those things.
Yeah.
I just simply, the reason I asked the question is oftentimes we'll see a project come in and before you know it, there's almost like a second part of the project that was originally envisioned and just for whatever reason wasn't brought here. I'm just
No.
curious what your plan is, if any.
No, I mean, my first choice would have been to enclose the whole thing, but since it's not under roof now, I didn't think that would
Okay,
be.
all right.
They have the embarrassment of riches in that on Madison Avenue, they have a beautiful ground, or it's elevated above ground, but first floor level porch that you can perch on. So that's pretty much the gathering place. So this to put a porch on the back, it's not going to get that kind of a use.
I understand. Well, the only thing I would just simply say is, it is visible from Kearney, so therefore that always attracts my attention. How is it just like the earlier applicant, when you are looking at the sight line, you don't want something intrusive. This is a very nicely done addition. It doesn't seem obtrusive to me, so I don't really have any other questions. I do agree with Jim. I think it'd be better to have windows that are all, some kind of matching windows, across the back at some point.
Ones that were put on here.
That would be another day for a project.
Yeah, I mean, you'll get around to it.
Yeah.
Those are replacement windows, you'll get around to it. I'll ask a question. This is both a combination of our procedure and whether or not we can do this. Is it possible, there doesn't seem to be any conditions to this conceptual approval, except the fact that we don't know whether it's going to require issues with respect to zoning. And yet we don't have any other suggestions. Is it possible for us to grant conceptual approval, but make that conceptual convert into final if there is no zoning issue?
Yes. I mean,
Because I would, rather than have them come back for a final approval where we haven't asked them to do anything more, I'd grant them conceptual because we think they might have a zoning question or problem. If it turns out you don't have a FAR situation, I would prefer to convert this into a final, if we can do it. Can I make a motion to do that?
sure.
Okay.
Is there any limitation? Because respectfully, if we gain approval from this board, we still have to submit full construction plans before the construction official, and that's preceded obligation with a review from the zoning officer. So there, like, we are obligated to do that.
We can waive the time limit.
Well,
There-
so
here's
Chris, the final approval usually has construction.
This is a simple enough application that if you wanted to, you could consider just giving a final to it. And then what happens beyond that, they're going to have to get a zoning permit one way or the other. And if
Thank
the
you.
zo-
That's all I'm trying to say.
Right. And it's simple enough that you have the discretion to do that. We have done that in the past. We don't do it in every case. And you're doing an addition that really might have some push and pull by the board. This is, can we enclose this porch and turn into something?
Right.
And that's going to be an FAR application to the board or not. And if it's not, it can have the support of this board through a resolution.
I mean, I'd love to appear before you again, but for a different application.
Well, no, that's the reason I was suggesting it be converted, but if they do, if we do this as final, and it turns out they do have a fire problem and have to redesign.
Let's get back before us.
They'll have to come back.
Yeah, we won't be able to proceed in any way through zoning to construction. So the mechanism is there to prevent the short circuiting of.
Here's the benefit. The benefit of doing a conceptual is Kevin's pointing out this roof thing and the HVAC condensers. If it turns out that they have to make an FAR application, they may consider, well, if we're going to go to that trouble, maybe we try and rearrange that, and maybe the additions on the outward-facing portion and the HVAC's rerouted to that side. But I'm not trying to redesign this at the table. I'm just saying that that's.
I was going to make a motion, I'm not so sure what motion I'm going to make.
Well, I think it's simple enough. They know what they want to do. They want to enclose that porch, and if the HPC is okay with it, it's straightforward enough and not a lot of moving parts that you could just give a final, and then they'll figure out it.
We can't flip-flop the configuration for this bathroom because it's a different bedroom it lands in. It's.
I saw your head go down when I suggested that, so I
Yeah, no,
I
it's
don't get
fine.
in design. I'm
No,
not.
I'm not betting that you're going to do any other fancy footwork here other than to try and do what you've submitted to us. So I will make a motion to grant.
Can I hold you for just a
I
second?
will not make a motion.
Just because I haven't made my comments yet.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's all right.
You did.
No. I only have one. Well, actually two. One is very nicely presented. Having the detail that you presented us is really helpful. However, with that said, there's one drawing that I think we still need, and that's a south elevation. And the reason why is because this literally is an addition, even though it's just enclosing, and how the addition material meets the existing house material needs to be differentiated. Maybe it's just a trim board, as in compliance with our standards. And since we don't have a document of that, I think we need to see that. That's all.
So if I did like a traditional corner board,
Exactly.
just to have that clean break.
Yep, just a clean break, that's all. And if we have that, so that document will be important so that our compliance officer, when they're out in the field, can see that that's actually what we approved and it's in compliance with our standards.
Okay.
That's all.
What's the procedure for that? Well, is that something I could submit administratively, or do we appear next month?
Yes.
Can I make the motion?
You now may
I would
make
make
the
the
motion.
motion to grant final approval, but with respect to what you just mentioned, I would have that submitted to the review committee.
That's what I'm suggesting.
Okay, can someone please,
You're confused, Judy?
I would like,
I'll
I would like the motion to
I'll
be
summarize the motion.
clearly cited by someone.
Okay.
So,
I think, Mr. Testa, you are motioning.
right, to grant final approval to this application, but the final application, when submitted, has to have the
South elevation.
south elevation showing the differentiation that we talked about, and that submission will be made to our review committee for its review, and that will finalize the approval.
So essentially, what's being moved here, proposed, is a final approval with the condition that you submit a south elevation for review by our review committee. Okay?
Perfect.
Judy, is that clear enough?
It's a final
Yeah.
with conditions.
One condition, and that is
Okay.
submitting the south elevation.
Okay,
for
it
review.
just sounded like it was going to be
Nope,
something else.
that's it.
That's it.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Moved by Mr. Testa, seconded by Mr. Stevenson. Judy, roll call, please.
Mr. Carroll.
Yes.
Ms. Wilson Stridick.
Yes.
Mr. Stevenson.
Yes.
Mr. Hammerin.
Yes.
Mr. Testa.
Yes.
Mr. Becker.
Yes.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you for your time
You're
today.
very welcome.
And I'll try to have something for you next Tuesday.
Yeah, that'd be great. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
For us to finish within the hour is,
Well, we're not
done
quite
yet.
finished yet, right?
Must be something in the air.
It's spring.
Okay, so I would call for public comment, but you two gentlemen are the only public present. Do you have a comment?
Thank you.
Okay.
Just keep doing what you're doing. I love doing these types of projects,
Yeah.
but I've talked to other municipalities up north. The neighbors come in, and they live in historic neighborhoods, and they get really upset when something gets passed by. But not everybody's willing to invest the time and the resources in putting together a guidebook and standards, and it's a tragedy.
Yeah. Well, thanks for your contribution.
Thanks for using it.
Pleasure.
Yeah. You'll find you get a better result if you do use it.
It's not hard. It's spelled out.
It's what we thought.
Okay, so
Thank you all.
closing public comment.
Turn this off.
We have, yes, please. We have two items for discussion. The first is just a bit of a report back on the special alignment workshop that we had, workshop number 2, which was last Thursday. So what has occurred since then is we have written a cover letter, as suggested, that will go along with the notice of the amendment sent to the 215, I believe, affected parties. And the intention is for that to go out within the next day or two. The challenge is that our solicitor is suggesting, and for good reason, I believe, that they be sent by certified mail. So that's going to be a bit of a challenge, but and the only other notion is removing from it our idea of having it be an RSVP, simply because it could become unmanageable for Judy. So we've removed that from the cover letter, and thank you, Janice, for your editing work on that. We still need to produce by Wednesday, which I will just go ahead and do. I think it's pretty straightforward, just the legal notice announcing the meeting, which is basically just a very simple, straightforward, the shorter the better, because it costs less with less words, and that is just simply, I'm going to send it to you.
Purpose.
Right? It's just the purpose, why are we meeting? And in many ways, we could probably just extract what I put in the cover letter. What do you think?
Yeah, I just think they should be aware that the HPC is considering recommending an amendment to the local district map, and then the purpose statement, that's fine too. Just let them know what we're doing.
Well, what I didn't want to do is put the official purpose statement in that notice, but because I think it'd just be cleaner just to say, hey, this is what we're assuming, or this is what we're addressing, almost exactly as I did in the cover letter to the affected parties. And I'd be happy to send you a copy of that before Judy sends it out on Wednesday. I think you need to send that on Wednesday, right, Judy?
If you want it published by the 28th.
Yeah.
If you don't care if it's published on June 4th, the Wednesday prior to the meeting, then we have another week.
So the meeting's June 9th.
Correct.
Well, it seems to me the earlier folks know about this, the better. Yeah? So I think we should target getting that public notice out by Wednesday. Does that make sense?
Yes.
One other thing I would like to do is also send to all of you a draft of a press release. Remember, we talked about also having a press release about this June 9th meeting?
We did.
So I'll go ahead and draft that and send it to our wonderful editor over here, Janice. And Janice, after I get it back from you, and any other comments that I get from you guys, we'll just need to send it to Paul for his approval before he gives it to Casey to publish it. Okay? Other than that, the other piece that needs to be done is I have not done the meeting minutes yet. I'm hoping to get to those by the end of this week. They're rather extensive. We did a lot of work. I'm using that as an excuse, of course, for Actually, the real excuse is the Jazz Festival this weekend, but we won't.
Nothing like making a public admissions.
Yeah, well, anyway, so in addition, from our meeting notes, I am going to create or make a first pass at consolidating the two purpose statements that our two breakout groups did into one integrated one, and propose an agenda for the day based upon the activities that we talked about. And I would like to send that out to all of you and have you respond, and I'll give you a deadline to respond to me so that we can give that to Judy, because Judy needs to publish the agenda officially on the city's website by what date, Judy?
There's not really a date for that, but earlier.
48 hours in advance.
Okay. Well, we'll have it way before then. Okay. Any other comments on the June 9th special meeting regarding the amendment to the Historic District map?
What time?
Oh, 4 to 6 in this room. Yep. Yep.
John, I did, what I spoke to you after the last meeting was that the idea of having an official city polo shirt that has the city seal, and then Historic Preservation Commission.
Yeah.
Something that we could use for our public outreach programs, make us more identifiable. And I spoke with the mayor and the city manager. They approved it. I was able to reach out to United Uniforms, and they gave me a quote of $30 per shirt, which of course I think would have to come from us. Otherwise, I guess every other board and commission would have to get them. But I'll pass it around. I'll show it to Kevin first. But the mayor's wearing one. There's one with Mike Voll, and they have two different logos. They have a linear logo, and they have the round logo. And they're just a very nice polo shirt.
Not to, Jake, not to be xenophobic about this, but these are U.S. and Union made?
Are they?
That's my question.
Well, I will look into that. Yeah.
I take it they're all black.
Well, I mean,
Dark blue.
whatever this,
Oh, really?
are they black or navy? I don't know.
There's many colors available.
Yeah, I think that, aren't they navy blue, Lorraine?
The one that I have is black.
Oh, great.
These are special.
There's red.
Oh, yeah.
There's navy blue.
Oh, black would be
There's
best.
royal blue. There's white.
Jake, I only have one question. Polyester or cotton?
The specs are on here.
Okay.
And I mean, I think it may be synthetic, but we could, request a price on cotton if
Yeah.
that's preferred, or 50/50.
So Jake, I guess you'll need sizes for all of us, right?
You know what? I mean,
It's polyester.
yeah. Is
I
that
think,
good or bad?
I think white for summer uniforms and black for winter.
I'll second that.
How does that go with eating pizza with the white? Is that okay, or?
White with black linen, looks good year round.
Okay, so we'll just leave it that you can order a white and a black, if you're so decide.
Are you going to do individual names on them, or are you just going to do historic preservation?
That was, the way they've been producing them, the logo's on one side and they have their department on the other. Otherwise, except for the elected officials.
Just do historic preservation?
Yes, I mean,
Okay.
that's,
Because then you're not getting involved with.
right.
And are we paying individually for our shirts?
Yes, I mean, that's what was suggested.
So.
$30, not
Supposed to wear
bad.
'em.
So they gave me 3 shirts as harbor master, and I never paid for any one of them, so, yeah. I got an arguing point there.
I'm guessing it's the annual
So I
appreciation.
have a suggestion. Jake, would you be willing to send out an email to all of us, simply asking 2 questions?
Yeah.
One is, what size, what color?
Okay, and how many, right?
And how many you'd like.
Okay.
And each of us will then pay whomever we pay. I guess that, are you going to be also the treasurer of this
Yeah,
endeavor?
I'll do the collecting.
Okay,
Sure.
so then we could also then just give you the money for whatever, how many shirts we want, size and color, right?
Yeah, and I mean, it's right up here, there's a gun range up there, Route 9.
Great.
So, it's local.
They are very nice shirts.
They are.
Yes, yeah, and it's the same that the city
Yeah.
buys for all the other uses.
Who's this guy wearing this?
Okay, so we have one more item for discussion. I would like to hand it over to Mr. Testa for this.
I'm sure that you all saw over the last couple of weeks the appeal from the preservation interests, and reflecting on that, if you've been following it at all, I think you'll know that funding for preservation is in the process of taking an enormous hit in the upcoming budget. And it's a very, very serious matter. And I reflected on that in the responsive email when it first came out from Judy's notice. And I thought that as a group and as a commission, we ought to be expressing a viewpoint about that outcome and attempting to try and change it. And the way we change things is through the political system. So what I am proposing that we do is adopt a resolution, a copy of which I'm going to pass out to you that I've done as a draft, and ask you to read it. But the gist of it would be to do by resolution a view from this commission that says you need to put adequate funds back in the Historic Preservation Fund for this budget year, and you need to release the funds that are mysteriously being held back from use, and some of those involve grants that have already been awarded, which is disgraceful. So I do that by mentioning the political appeal, which I think is federal, and which ought to go to our representative in the House of Representatives and to our 2 senators. And in addition to the resolution for them, I'm asking us to ask council and city officials to do likewise, because we are a National Historic Landmark, and we should count, and our view should count, and preservation should be important. So I'd just ask you to read that, and then I'm going to ask if it's okay with you that I have a resolution, a motion to adopt the resolution.
I'd
Please.
just like to add that a lot of those grants that were approved, the organizations have spent the money on that promise that you will be refunded as long as you did everything right. So, I mean, we would be leaving a lot of organizations on the hook to some money that they borrowed. A very, very poor way for any government agency to treat people like that.
So if you just take a moment to read the whereases, which are extensive, unfortunately, and the conclusion at the end. And I would guess and suppose, if this resolution is passed, that our chairman will do a cover for it and move it to the right offices and the right people.
So, in summary, after all the whereases, what we are resolving to do is to hereby request and urge to take all to our U.S. senators and House of Representatives who are associated with our area, I guess.
I did put the entire New Jersey
did.
delegation, but I put, Jeff Van Drew.
Jefferson Van Drew, Cory Booker, and Andy Kim. What we're doing is requesting and urging them to take all necessary action in the legislative and the administrative process, including executive branch, to redress the above failures regarding lack of funding or rescinding of funding, and resolve favorably the concerns noted above. In addition, we are asking the city officials, including the mayor, city council, and city manager, to also take all necessary and desirable action within the powers likewise to effectuate the foregoing resolution.
Yeah, the only concern that I have is, it does say city council, and they haven't had the opportunity to see this.
No, and you would bring it to them.
Right, okay.
This is us asking, in addition to us doing what we're going to do.
Okay.
Asking you all to do something.
Absolutely, and I have no problem with doing that and giving this to all members of
I'm
council.
a great believer in piling on.
We're not telling you,
can.
we're asking.
Oh, yeah, and I would do the same,
Jim, this is
asking
really
them.
nice.
It is.
So this is a resolution specifically from the City of Cape May's Historic Preservation Commission.
Correct.
Yes.
You have
Any comments, Mr. Solicitor?
No, I think it looks good. And Jim, if you have a Word document of this, could you send it to me as well?
I do, and John does, and Judy does,
Okay.
so they can send it to Chris.
forwarded to you.
So my only request would be, as vice chair, if you would write the cover letter,
Happy to.
and I would co-sign it with you.
Terrific.
Does that
Done.
sound good?
Done.
That'd be great.
But pass the resolution first.
So, do I hear a motion to pass a resolution for, well, this proposed resolution right before us.
I'll make the motion.
Moved by Mr. Kurtz,
I'll second it.
seconded by Ms. Wilson Strittick. Judy, could we have a roll call vote, please? Oops, pause, sorry.
Just because you used Honorable Jefferson, Andrew, and Cory Booker, isn't it Andrew Kim?
I'm sorry?
Isn't it Andrew Kim?
It does, but all his communications says Andy.
If you're sticking formal, stick formal.
His stuff to his constituents actually says Andy. But we all know who it is.
Still the same name.
So we have before us a motion for approval of this resolution as proposed by Mr. Testa, moved by, who moved? Oh, Mr. Kurtz, and seconded by Ms. Wilson Strittick. Judy, please.
Mr. Carroll.
Yes.
Ms. Wilson Strittick.
Yes.
Mr. Stevenson.
Yes.
Mr. Hammerin.
Yes.
Mr. Testa.
Yes.
Mr. Kurtz.
Yes.
Mr. Becker.
Yes,
Thank you.
with all of that,
Thank you all.
you're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you.
For taking on the initiative to do that. Do we have any other comments, questions, discussions?
I
Yes.
just have one, just a point of recognition that Tom and Sue Carroll were awarded Citizen of the Year by the city of Cape May for year 22, wasn't it?
22, yeah.
22. So certainly, for all the dedicated services that the two of them have done for the city, I just think it's worth noting for the record that the committee appreciates that, too.
Thank you, and thank you all who came out and supported the,
It really was an HPC evening, wasn't it?
yeah, it really was.
So, thank you, Tom, for all you've done.
Oh, my name's on- You'll know where I'm going to be in the long term, under the stone.
They're going to have to reduce you quite a bit.
So any other issues for this evening or a motion to adjourn?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned at 7:12.
Wow.
Impressive.